Latest in Madagascar, political tensions there reaching a dangerous tipping point. Army Colonel Michael Rajoelina announcing that the military has taken control of the island nation just moments after Parliament voted to impeach President Andry Rajoelina. The announcement made in front of the ceremonial president palace in the capital Antananarivo comes amid weeks of mass anti-government protests and deep political unrest. Regional eyes are now fixed on Madagascar, with the Southern African Development Community, or SADC, and the African Union facing mounting pressure to intervene and help steer the nation back towards stability and democratic order. We speak now to Professor Ishmael Theletsane, Director, Organ on Politics, Defence and Security Affairs at the SADC Secretariat, to speak to us more about this. A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for speaking to us, Professor. Firstly, what reports are you getting out of Madagascar in terms of what the situation is?
Tsapisa, good evening, and good evening to your viewers. The reports we are getting from Madagascar is the same that you are getting. We get all the reports, unfortunately not in a normal situation where you will get a note verbal from the government. At the moment, we are only getting reports from the media and from our early warning centers who are collecting information.
So what is your assessment of what has happened in Madagascar so far, with the president not only dissolving parliament, appointing a new prime minister, but the growing protests, political tensions, and what have been injuries and killings on the ground too?
Yeah, so unfortunately, this has been going on for some time. It's weeks now. It started with this Gen Z, what we call Gen Z. And what transpired today really proved that we need to move in as SADC and the African Union. And I know many people would argue that we should have moved much earlier than we are thinking now. We were actually allowing the internal processes, allowing the country to exhaust all other internal processes before we could move in as SADC. Yes, indeed, what has transpired today and the day before and yesterday and other days, it's a clear indication that the region needs to move in and assist the Republic of Madagascar.
But Prof, is it not a contradiction in terms if you say we acknowledge that we should have moved in and intervened much earlier, but we were allowing the internal processes to unfold? So which one is it? Does SADC believe that it should have stepped in earlier, or you believe the situation that is unfolding now is a result of you acknowledging the sovereignty of a nation that has ultimately fallen apart, fallen to pieces?
So remember, before you move in, you keep on getting information from the country. And if the country give you the assurance that all is in order, I have everything under control, you can't insist in moving in. And those were the reports we were receiving, that everything is still under control. So unfortunately, there is absolutely nothing that we could have done as SADC.
You're saying you're receiving this information from President Andry Rajoelina, who himself is, dare I say, the protagonist in the violent upsurge that we've seen from protesters. And as you say yourself, that it's a situation that has been ongoing for quite a while now.
Yeah, but look, there was no reason for us not to believe, and you rightfully pointed out right in the beginning, as SADC, we believe in the sovereignty of all our member states. And when we inquire from our member state and we get the assurance that all is in order, there is no reason for us not to believe them. And that's where we found ourselves now.
Okay. And Prof, you seem to, the way you're responding, to think that I'm on the attack, but I'm merely asking you based on the statements that you're making. And I'll go back again to the question that I asked initially, that is, are you either acknowledging that you went in too late, because you're saying you accept the criticism? So on what basis do you accept that criticism if you're now saying that, well, we had no reason not to believe President Rajoelina when he said all is well?
No, not Seppi. It's not. It's never too late. It is the right time now to move in, given that the situation has escalated to where it is today. Whereas if we had to move in 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and how do you move in when the owner of the house tells you that there is nothing wrong in the house, all is well. So we're waiting now to move in and see how best we can assist the Republic of Madagascar in collaboration with other role players, stakeholders such as the African Union.
Okay, so what framework would you then intervene as SADC? Because there certainly is criticism against you that you definitely did not act in time, that when you were in Madagascar for a summit, when the comments made by President Andry Rajoelina, who was saying that he himself will preside over democratic principles in an environment where already activists, protesters, and ordinary citizens were saying that there are no conditions for what would be democratic principles where human rights are being upheld.
So if you remember, we have been here before with the Republic of Madagascar, and your question as to what are we going to do, the only rational thing to do is to use our peace and security structures within the organ, and one of them being the panel of elders when the situation is like this, where the African Union call it the panel of the wise. So the best thing would be to send, and that's what SADC is going to do in few days to come, is to send the panel of elders to engage various stakeholders on the ground. There are many actors in this in Madagascar. So the panel of elders will have to go and engage all those actors and come up with a consensus.
And who are you going to engage? Do you have an idea, given the fact that you're saying you only have the information which it's coming from the media, that you're not getting a note about from anybody? Who are you then intending to speak to? Your understanding who's in control of who's running Madagascar?
Yes. Thank you. So normally when you send the panel of elders, you will first send the secretariat with what we call the MRG group. So what we are going to do when we get to the ground for the 2-3 days, maybe, is to engage with the whoever is in government, could be foreign affairs, and then we will determine before the panel of elders arrive, who are we going to meet? So to establish the stakeholders. Some of the stakeholders might come voluntarily, others might have to be consulted to see if they will meet the panel of elders, because the panel of elders is a very senior structure. It's comprised former heads of states, so you don't want them to go there and run around and finding out who they have to meet. You have to send the team earlier on to determine who is going to form part of negotiations before the panel of elders arrive.
And what would SADC's approach be? And I'll go back to how SADC has handled the ongoings in Madagascar in the past. In fact, there has been a letter written by former president, some signatories, about SADC's role and what they see as you legitimizing President Andry Rajoelina and pointing to the 2011 roadmap. There seems to be an idea that you acted far more swiftly in 2009 when he intervened militarily than you are doing so now.
Yeah, but Tsapi, remember, and I'm glad you mentioned the roadmap. Remember when President Chisano was in Madagascar, and in the end, after meeting all the stakeholders, they came up with this roadmap. But at the end of the day, it's not for SADC to implement the roadmap. We leave them with a tool. The roadmap was a tool for the Republic of Madagascar. And it was up to the Republic of Madagascar then to use this tool moving forward. And I think if the tool was used correctly, would have been far in Madagascar.
But you seem to divorce yourself from that role. When you say use correctly, would you say that SADC has been consistent in the manner that it's dealing with Madagascar, has been dealing with Madagascar, as opposed to, say, Zimbabwe, or even in Lesotho?
What difference are you referring to, Tsepi? Are
No,
you referring to what happened?
I'm asking a question. I'm asking, do you believe that you have been consistent?
I think we have been. I think we have been. And the other thing that you must also understand, Tsepi, is that you are dealing with different leaderships, and when people are in leadership positions, they do things differently. Back in those days, there could have been a different leadership of the organ, maybe a different leadership of SADC, and we have a different leadership now, which maybe have a different approach compared to that the then leadership.
So, is it the person that is at the helm that determines how SADC approaches a conflict in a country or tensions in a country? Is that what you're saying?
It is the person at the helm, but with the support of the SADC Secretariat. As the Secretariat, we provide advice to that person.
So then, how does SADC then view its role as a regional player in such power disputes? Because it would seem to me that your framework surely cannot be written for individuals, that there must be a standard that is upheld, and that also has to speak to what the AU intervention frameworks also have to say.
No. It's not about the individual. Like I said to you, we have different structures within SADC. You have the organ on politics. Within the organ on politics, there are various structures. And now the panel of elders being one of those diplomacy structures is the first line. That hence we want to send the panel of elders now to come back and inform the heads of state or inform the summit when we meet upon their return.
Are you concerned that what is happening in Madagascar has the potential of sowing regional instability?
Are you referring to the spillover?
Yes.
It has that potential. I mean, if you remember the Arab Spring, and that has always been my concern when it started, that what you see in Madagascar, I will not be surprised if you see it spilling over to other countries, particularly the island states. I will not be surprised.
So then, what would be the plan when I know you say the panel or the of elders or the esteemed members of SADC will go ahead on a fact-finding mission, if that's what it is, but I would imagine speed is of the essence if you have what you see now as being interpreted as a military coup underway. Surely there must be swiftness in the approach.
Sapi, so I fully agree with you, and hence we are meeting. And if it was according to me, I would have sent the panel of elders today. But there are certain processes that needs to be followed. You can't only send the panel of elders. I mean, I would have sent them yesterday. But you first have to assess the security situation. Those are the former heads of state. Those are all elder people. So you can't just send them like you are sending troops into the battleground. You first have to assess and make sure the situation allow them to be on the ground. So this is what we are busy with now.
Will there be civic engagement in these meetings that are set to take place? And I know you can't say at this very moment whom or what, but will there be civic engagement while also dealing with things at a political and military level?
Yeah, look, I think we will send various role players with a panel of elders, but the panel of elders will guide. And as the situation unfolds when they are on the ground, they will guide us on what we need. If they are there and there is certain expertise that is needed, that expertise will be sent to Madagascar.
All right. Thank you very much.
I can't rule that out.
Thank you very much for speaking to us, and we do hope to speak to you again on the latest. Professor Theletsane, Professor Ishmael Theletsane is the